Considering the Wampler Catacombs, but you can't quite decide? Well, in this video, we're going to take the most comprehensive, in-depth dive into this pedal and really give you all the information you need before you buy. I'm Jason for Pedalboards of Doom, and let's be really transparent here. Both the Catacombs and the new Syntax Mini MIDI switcher were both provided very kindly to us by Wampler for us to take a look at. Now, our before you buy videos are really about weighing up the pros and cons, presenting them to you in such a way that helps you make a decision about buying the pedal. It's not really meant to be a review, but these pedals were provided to us, so do keep that in mind. The Catacombs is a pedal that Brian himself calls a selfish pedal, and he really didn't intend on releasing it. It's a pedal he built for himself, but ultimately decided it was worthwhile releasing. It's from the same range as their other multi-effects, the Terraform and Metaverse, with the latter lending many of Brian's favourite delay algorithms to this pedal. It is, of course, a dual delay and reverb pedal, and on the face of it, it's a pretty simple one. But don't be fooled, it is hiding some pretty cool tricks under the hood. Like the other pedals in this series, the goal here is simplicity, so you won't find any screens or menus for deep diving into every tiny little aspect of a preset. Instead, what you get is a really easy to use pedal with all the kind of settings that you would need to tweak to dial in a great sound on the face of the pedal itself. So let's get into it. On the face of it, you have the program knob for selecting your different algorithms, and then you have 5 other knobs that pull double duty for tweaking both the delay and the reverb. By default, your program knob controls the delay algorithms, as well as your delay time, feedback, delay level, modulation level, and reverb level. Pressing and holding the bypass/alt foot switch gives you access to the alternative controls. So on the program knob, you can now select the different reverb algorithms, and on the 5 knobs on the face of the pedal, you then get access to the shimmer level, the decay level, the tone for the delay, the rate for the modulation, and the tone for the reverb. That all sounds pretty complicated, but honestly, after you've used the pedal for a little while, that all becomes pretty self-explanatory and easy. I got used to it really quickly. Hey guys, just cutting in here to say that if you are enjoying the video and you like the content on the channel, please do consider sticking a like on it and subscribing. It really does help us out and it gets the video in front of more people. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Between the two foot switches is the preset button and the LED indicator array, and it couldn't be easier to save a preset. To save a preset, you press and hold that preset button. The LEDs will begin to flash, indicating the preset number that you're on. To change the preset number that you want to save to, you just press the button until you find the one that you want to save to, indicated by the LEDs, and then you press and hold it again to save the preset. You have 8 presets available to you via that switch or via the foot switch on the right. We'll talk about that a little more shortly. Or you can of course access up to 127 presets via MIDI. You can also access those 8 presets easily with the brand new Wampler Syntax MIDI switcher. It's really easy to set up, and in fact this one came ready to go. I just had to plug it in with a mini TRS MIDI cable, and it was already set to switch through those presets nice and easy. That is of course sold separately. I think it's around $99. So, keep that in mind. While we're talking about the preset LED array, this does a cool little trick where when you're tweaking a preset, it will kind of indicate whereabouts that knob is compared to the saved preset. I hope that makes sense. I'll try and demo it a little bit, but it's a handy feature to just kind of know where the knob is set in the saved version of the preset. So when you're tweaking it, you know how much of a difference you're potentially making compared to the saved preset. Check out the little clip and hopefully it makes more sense. And there's even more to those LEDs. Press and hold the bypass alt switch again, and you now have access to the different subdivisions. Now I'll put a screenshot on the screen right here, but all of the usual suspects are there. Really cool way of implementing that, I think. So I talked about that right foot switch earlier, and let's dig into that a little bit more. So by default it is set to tap tempo, but it can actually do 2 additional actions. As I mentioned, by default this foot switch is set to tap tempo, and the LED will be blue in that mode. But if I press and hold the foot switch for 1 second, it will switch to a green LED. In the green mode, it allows you to increment the preset, so you can go through all 8 of your presets by pressing up until it cycles back around to the first one. If I press and hold again for 1 second, it will turn red, and that allows me to turn off the reverb independently of the delay. So that last setting essentially turns this into the standalone delay and reverb pedals. And the great thing as well is that you can actually route a pedal in between those 2 pedals. So if there's something you want to stick in between your delay and reverb, you can do it. Of course, it is stereo in and out, and it also has an expression jack that you can assign to any of the parameters. It has a full MIDI implementation, but my personal favorite feature here is the routing switch. So the routing switch allows you to very quickly switch between series or parallel routing. And in the series mode, you can actually choose between whether you go delay into reverb, which is the default behavior, or reverb into delay. My personal favorite way of using it is in parallel mode, because I really like the way that maintains the clarity of your repeats, and your repeats don't get reverb added to them, so it doesn't get quite as muddy as it can do if you have your delays running into your reverbs. But you may prefer to run it in series, and the pedal gives you that option. So let's really quickly cover the algorithms that you have available. So on the delay side, you've got analog, bucket brigade, faux tape echo, which is straight from Wampler's faux tape echo pedal. You got a space echo sound, you've got tape echo, and you've got a digital delay. On the reverb side, you've got shimmer, plate, spring, room, and hall. So this pedal really has all the classic delay and reverb sounds that you would ever need. And finally, the Catacombs can be set in either true bypass, or if you want to retain your trails when you turn the pedal off, you can set it up as buffered bypass. And man, I had to come back and film this little additional section because I almost completely forgot that Wampler have added plugins. So recently they released the plugin version of the Terraform and the Metaverse, and they've done the same for the Catacombs. And what's great about it is that if you register this pedal with Wampler, you'll get that plugin completely free. There's not many other pedal companies making plug-in versions of their pedals, let alone making them for free. So I think that's really a great added value to this pedal. So nice one, Wampler. Wow, that was a lot to cover. I've sprinkled a lot of the playing demos in between the sections, so I don't have a dedicated kind of demo section part of this video. You'll have seen lots of different sound examples as we've gone through. So I think I'll summarize with some pros and cons, and then I'll tell you what kind of a player I think this pedal is really for. So for the pros, well, it sounds fantastic, plain and simple. I've come to expect no less from Wampler pedals, they always sound great. There's loads of sounds packed in, all the classic delay and reverb algorithms you could ever need are available here. And yet, it's also really easy to use. There's more on offer in this pedal if you do want to dig into the features a little bit more and get a bit more geeky about it. It's also tiny for a dual delay and reverb pedal, right? Priced at $299 or £299, it's also really competitively priced, especially when you consider that you get that plugin included in the cost of entry. It can be used as a standalone delay and reverb pedal, so you buy one pedal and you can set it up so you've got that individual control of the delay and reverb. I think that's a really useful feature, especially considering you can route an additional pedals in between the two pedals in the signal path as well. There's plenty of on-device presets available which are really easy to switch between, and of course you get that full access to 127 via MIDI. Finally, I'll mention that plugin again. What a great feature to get completely free of charge thrown in for the cost of entry. So cons then, while I do think this is a really relatively simple pedal to use, it could be a little bit overwhelming if you're used to really simple kind of standalone one effect type pedals. but I do think you get used to it pretty quickly. Again, there's no screen or menus for deep diving every single parameter available in a preset. Really is what you see on the face of the pedal is what you get, and some people really want to be able to tweak a lot more than this pedal kind of gives you access to. For some people, 8 presets accessible on the pedal itself isn't going to be enough, but without a screen to get through all your different presets, really we have to kind of accept that limitation. And finally, while the pedal does have all the classic delay and reverb tones, you're not going to find any of those more out there delay and reverbs. So there's no glitchy, there's no reverse delays or anything like that. And there's not a single cloud reverb in sight, unfortunately. So who do I think this pedal is for? Well, it's for Brian Wampler. He told us that, right?
You know, I made this, like I said, I made this for me because I was gigging. I had my metaverse, I had a different reverb, and I thought, this is stupid. I should just put all this in one pedal. So we did.
Look, in all seriousness, I think this pedal will be really well suited for somebody that wants a really simple delay and reverb all in one unit, that doesn't want complicated menus and just wants to be able to quickly dial up a tone. This person would be more than happy with just all the classic delay and reverb sounds. They're not bothered about glitchy reverse or cloud-based reverb and delays. They just want access to really great quality classic reverb and delays. I think it would also be a great pedal for somebody that wants to get into kind of more advanced dual delay and reverb pedals, but is a bit put off by those pedals that have got like menus for days and screens and all that stuff. There's stuff in here that, you know, you have to do a bit of deep diving into the pedal to figure it out. But when you do, and you learn how to use that stuff, it really makes the pedal way more versatile. If you're one of those people that's got a pretty big board already with loads of dirt pedals, modulation pedals and what have you, maybe some wacky crazy effects, and you don't really have a lot of room left, maybe you've got a little space but not enough for a standalone delay and reverb pedal, I think this really fits the bill with all those classic sounds. Or maybe you're one of those guys that's already got a massive board with your Strymon Big Sky or your Meris pedals, you know, that kind of thing, and you want to build a smaller board for like fly gigs or maybe smaller stages. This would make a really great addition to a tiny board for that scenario. So I really hope this video helped you make a decision on the Wampler Catacombs. Again, massive thanks to the Wampler team for sending this pedal over for us to take a look at. We really appreciate your support. If you did like the video and you got something out of it, please do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Really does help us out. And on your screen right now will be another Wampler pedal. A while back we took a look at the Wampler Ego 76 compressor, so check that out in the link there somewhere. Thanks again. I've been Jason for Pedalboards of Doom, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.